love a strong man.
What's up guys, Stevie here with Lucky Crit. Since the launch of Fire Emblem Echoes, I've seen many of you in the comments wondering when would be the recommended time to promote your units. Back in the days of Fire Emblem Gaiden, it was a much clearer choice, but now, with the changes present in Fire Emblem Echoes, it's a bit more complicated. Let's take a look. In Fire Emblem Gaiden, the general recommendation was to promote your units as fast as possible. Character growth rates were incredibly low, so grinding them up to level 20 before promoting likely would have been a waste of time, and with how slow the game was overall, I wouldn't recommend waiting to promote at all. Units also jumped up to the base stats of the class that they were becoming, resulting in massive stat gains that really helped characters more so than level up stat gains ever would. With Fire Emblem Echoes though, things have changed. Stat growths have improved rather significantly, still not quite like those of Awakening and Fates, but they're certainly much better than they were in Gaiden. While most veteran players might still advocate for promoting as soon as possible, I'll lay out the pros and cons of both approaches to help you decide what's best for you.
Alright, leave them all to me.
If you choose to upgrade your units as soon as possible, you will reap the full benefits of jumping up to the new class's base stats, thus helping units that don't start out very good but can be quickly upgraded to be much more easy to use and versatile in battle. You also get to experience a pretty near constant flow of class changing throughout the game, allowing you to never get bored of watching the same character models in battle. Your villager units will be much better and easier to use in the early game since they'll also be into better classes faster, and you won't have to grind as much in dungeons so you can swiftly progress through the story without getting sidetracked. This will also amount to the most challenge that you can experience in the game since there isn't a lunatic mode in Echoes, as not grinding any of your units and not leveling them up to the max will help your units stay on track when it comes to the game's difficulty curve. This might not hold true with some of the late game difficulty spikes, but if you have trouble later, grinding will still always be an option. If you want the most challenge out of the game, and hate the idea of grinding for hours, resetting level ups, and killing the same enemies over and over in dungeons, this very well might be the choice for you. Certain units, like anyone in the mercenary class line, will also have the ability to class change back into the villager class once they reach level 10 as a dread fighter. And yes, this even applies to characters like Jesse, who's never a villager, but comes as a mercenary that you recruit later in the game. So if any of your dread fighters end up relatively subpar stats-wise, you can easily have them loop back through the villager class again to get some more level ups without losing any of your stats. If you choose to wait with upgrading your units, and instead decide to max them all out before you upgrade them, like you probably would to get the most out of them like in other Fire Emblem games, you'll definitely be doing some grinding. Experience rates drop dramatically after units reach level 10, and while it's not impossible to get everyone to reach level 20 before upgrading, it'll definitely be a slog. You'll also miss out on the huge upgrade bonuses you'll get from promoting them earlier, but after expending all of that effort upon leveling them up, unless they get stat screwed somewhere, they should be significantly more powerful overall, since you got them a handful of more level ups, and the upgrade only takes you to the next class's bases, which you should easily surpass by that point. This method may also prove to be much more difficult when it comes to training your units, since you'll be sticking with the villager classes and other lower tier ones for a longer period of time, and you'll probably end up pausing your progression through the story to grind in the various dungeons. Like I said earlier, since the mercenary class line can become villagers again, there might not necessarily even be a need for you to max out these units, at least the first time around, since you can just send them back through the villager class line again if you need to. As a side note, I just thought of a really awesome playthrough challenge for those of you looking for future playthrough ideas. Go through the game without grinding in dungeons and fighting extra world map battles, and units only get upgraded when they max out. It'll result in a much more realistic journey, with Alm traveling the continent with some weak and relatively untrained villagers. Let me know if you end up trying this, but I digress. There's also a third option here. This would be to level up your units a bit, and then upgrade them somewhere along the line before they max out. For example, maybe you don't want to grind your units past level 10, since the experience gains become much slower. This gives your units an opportunity to get more level ups than you would by upgrading them as soon as possible, but the downside here would be that you'd probably miss out on most of the class change stat gains. However, with the level ups you get, depending upon the RNG and how good those level ups are, they could potentially be way better than they would have by just upgrading them right off the bat. This is, for the most part, what I did, and I'm continuing to do in my first playthrough. I haven't grinded for more than a few hours, but I've definitely spent some extra time in the dungeons leveling characters up. While I'm sacrificing the promotional gains on most of my characters, they're getting a bit more love and effort put into them before they're upgraded. I don't think I'll max out everyone at level 20, but I'll probably get into the early teen levels with them before promoting most units. This has led to a decreased game difficulty for me though, as some of my units have been able to steamroll thus far, so let that be a warning to those of you looking for a challenge. Obviously, if you grind, the game will be easier. Ultimately, here's my recommendation. If you're the type of player who likes to grind up their units a bit in dungeons before pressing on with the story of the game, you can certainly wait until at least level 10 to promote your units. While you'll miss out on some of the huge stat gains of instantly promoting, in the long run your units have the potential of being much stronger if they get some decent level ups during that extra training. If you're someone that hates grinding in video games and just wants to get through the game and get to the cooler and better classes sooner, progress through the story faster chapter by chapter, and not spend hours in dungeons, I'd recommend that you instantly upgrade your units or upgrade them relatively soon after they're able to. That's going to wrap up today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to slash the thumbs up if you enjoyed this episode or learned anything new, comment Echoes in the comment section, and also let me know how your playthroughs of Echoes are going and which of the approaches you took with promoting your characters. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet so you can stay up to date on our content, and for behind the scenes information and news revealed on the fly, follow us on Twitter at Lucky Crit Gaming, and I'll see you all next time.